What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to iStuff Gaming, and today we're going to be doing a character guide on the god Hercules. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you'd like to keep up with my Twitch or my Discord, I'll be leaving those links in the description below. Now, Hercules right now has seen a really big rise, in my opinion, because of how the items change for the solo lane, so he's not getting super out-sustained. He actually has a place in the game now. And him being one of my favorite characters in the game, I figured I would go ahead and make a guide on him. This character is pretty brain dead, aside from getting his pull down, which we'll go over in a moment, but I wanted to go ahead and help the community out and how to build him. Now, let's go ahead and go over his passive and abilities. So, for Hercules' passive, he has Strength from Pain. Every time Hercules takes damage from an enemy god, he gains a stacking self buff that provides increased physical power. This gives him 5 power, plus 1 per level for 5 seconds, and it stacks at 3. Alright, so for his first ability, it's known as Driving Strike. Hercules delivers a mighty strike, driving all enemies back, damaging and stunning them. Hercules is immune to knockback during the dash. And this stun at rank 1 is a 1.1 second stun, and when it's ranked up, it turns into a 1.5 second. It's a pretty short distance move, however, it does hit really freaking hard, as you can see. Up next, we have Earthbreaker. Hercules smashes the ground, sending a shockwave forward that does damage to all enemies in the path. Enemies at the end of the shockwave are thrown into the air towards Hercules. This is a skill shot move, however, you do not need to hit the tip of the move to get max damage. Keep that in mind. So, as you can see, at the tip of the move where there's a little square, that's the tip where the enemy will actually get thrown back toward. Up next, we have Mitigate Wounds. This is what makes Hercules Hercules other than his bully potential. Hercules heals himself instantly and gains increased magical and physical protections for the next 4 seconds. A percentage of the damage taken during this time is returned to him as an additional heal at the end of the duration. So, at rank 5, this gives him a 220 heal, and then 70% of the damage he takes returns to him as healing. And also he gets 60 protections at rank 5. This is a very, very strong ability. So, basically what will happen is, when you're using this move, you would actually pop this ability before you go into a fight. And then, once they hit you, you get all that health back. So, it's really nice, especially when you have a group of people who burst really hard. And then you get his heal most of that damage back. It's really nice as a front. And then finally we have his ultimate ability, Excavate. Hercules rips a huge boulder from the ground. Throwing the boulder does damage where the boulder lands. The boulder continues rolling, doing the same damage to all enemies in its path. Subsequent hits on the same enemy do 50% less damage per hit. Hercules is immune to CC while casting. So, and this ultimate does 800 damage at max. It's a really hard hitting ult. So, basically, if you throw that on top of the enemy, and then it bounces off a wall and hits them again, they'll take 150% of the damage. It's going to take a huge chunk of damage. Alright, so now we're going to get to Hercules' best items. Now, he has quite a few, but in my opinion, right now, his number 1 best item is the sledge. This makes Hercules almost impossible to kill. If you don't know why, what the sledge does is that it gets 40 power, which helps us clear a lot early. He gets 300 health and 150 mana, which helps him with his early game mana consumption. And he gets 20% crowd control reduction, so you can't CC him for too long. Also, for each enemy god within 55 units of him, he gets an extra 10 magical and 10 physical protections, which stacks up to 3 times. So he basically gets an extra 30 physical and magical protections whenever he's near 3 enemy gods. So this is a really strong item on him. Also, since you want to build him more bruiser-like, a really strong item on him would be Void Shield, considering the fact that when anybody is near him, any enemy god is near him, he takes away 50% physical protections automatically. If you're looking for more of a damage route, or you're looking for something to help your damage, get a Hydras over a Heartseeker, because Hercules, I believe, still boasts the hardest hitting basic out of all the warriors, so he'll get a lot of benefit after using a Hydras. Plus, if you auto cancel between his moves, he can actually pump out quite a bit of damage. Cooldowns is an issue for this character, so I would recommend building a breastplate and a Genji's. You don't need both at the same time, however, getting both really does help your cooldowns, making it to where you get your heal back and your stuns back relatively quickly. Also, if you don't want that, you can also just grab a Yutin's Wrath. This is also really good on him. For more tanky items, you can also run Shifter Shield. This gives him a lot more power when engaging when he has full health. Dona Gaia is really good on him, as well as Shield of Regrowth, so you can get in and make those engagements a lot easier. Also, Runic Shield for solo laners is a must-have. And me personally, I do like building Hide of the Urchin. I recommend building Hide of the Urchin on most solo laners, just because you can get that really good early game lead and then help your team get those kills once you get your first tower. So this is a really strong item on her, especially on Hercules. Also, I would recommend building a Predwin. Actually, I halfway agree with building Predwin on Hercules, because for me, Predwin is for people who can engage with their ult, and Hercules really isn't for that. You can, because it does do a chunky amount of damage, and then you get that health shield, so it has its uses. However, me personally, I use the ult to help kill confirm, but use that ult at your discretion. So this item can be really good for you. I'd also, for the early game, when you still have boots on, I would recommend getting Reinforced Greaves. You combine this with the Sledge, not only can you do a pretty decent amount of damage, but they can't kill you because of your 3, and they more than likely don't have anti-heal yet. Also, I would recommend building a Mantle of Discord or a Spirit Robe along with the Sledge, because both these items give a ridiculous amount of physical and magical protections, and both of them give you 10% cooldown reduction. Both those items are really strong on him. So for Hercules' overall game plan, he has 2 ways to engage. He can either engage with Earthbreaker and then hit his stun, which is going to look something like this. Or you can engage with your first ability and then hitting your second ability. And this is most likely, it looks like this. So both those engagement options are both really strong. You can start with the stun, which could push the enemies towards your team, or you can do the Earthbreaker into your first ability, both of which can put the enemy closer towards your team. However, doing the first method that I showed you is a little harder, considering the fact that the second ability is more of a skill shot, since you have to hit him at the tip of the move. And hitting the first ability and getting used to turning your camera around to push them towards your team can be a little tricky to do. Let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. So what you want to do is that you want to preemptively know that this move is going to hit. This will give you plenty of time to move into position to push them towards your team. Let's say your team is behind you. They're back here. And you're engaging. You're trying to get them close to your team. What you would do is this. See? It is pretty simple to do, but it could take some time to get used to. Finally, we are going to be going over Hercules' start and ability leveling path. So, you can use this character in the support lane. However, I'm going to be teaching you how to do it in the solo lane. So, what you're going to want to do is you want to get the Warrior's Blessing, obviously. And personally, I like starting Sledge first on most warriors right now, just because this item is just too strong. It helps so many people in the early game. And for your first ability, you're going to get for your clear. Now this is up to you. Your Driving Strike does do more damage, but it's harder to group the minions up with this ability. So the second ability is a better go-to, since it can hit those back minions and drive them closer to you, making it to where you can clear a little bit easier in a more safer fashion. Afterwards, you're going to be getting your first ability, and then you're going to be getting your third ability. Now, honestly, those two are interchangeable. After you get your second ability, you can get your third ability or your first ability. However, getting your first ability with your second ability can not only help your clear, but can also dramatically help your kill potential. But if you're looking for more survivability, go for your second ability. Go for your third ability. Once you do, however, have all 3 abilities, you're going to be leveling your first ability more than your second ability. Because this ability will help you clear and can clear better than your second ability. Because as you can see, when your first ability hits level 2, it does 155 damage compared to your second ability, which only does 125. So, level this ability first, and then you're going to want to level your third ability next. Simply because once this is leveled, you can get more get more healing back with your third ability, while getting more damage returned as healing when you level this ability up. So it's more important to level up his heal than it is to level up his 2. The last bit of information I would give as Hercules is knowing when to use your heal. In 1v1 situations, what you're going to be wanting to do is to hit your combo, which is your 2 into your first ability, or your first ability into your second ability, depending, and then pop in your heal. Because afterwards, they're going to want to get more aggressive on you and try to hit you back with as much damage as possible. So when they do that, after hitting your combo and you already have your heal up, you can get more protections, and then once they're done throwing their kit at you, you'll get a huge chunk of health back. But if you're in a 1v5 situation, or you're trying to engage for your team, the smarter option would be to pop your heal and then run at them and then pop your combo. That way you can soak up most of the damage they throw at you, and then you can hit somebody with your combo. And that about covers it for Hercules. Pretty straightforward character, however, this does come with a little bit of thought. I say a little bit because this character is still pretty brain dead. However, knowing when to use abilities, when to throw them, and how to build this character can be pretty annoying when you're first getting into the game, or if you've already been in the game but you don't really know how to play this character. As usual, if you like the guide, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. And if you'd like to see me do any guides on any other guides, let me know in the comments below as well. And as usual, stay safe, and I'll catch you all later.